This is Top Title Sports. Thank you for tuning in. I am Eric Vincent, and it's time to rap a little bit about my Detroit Lions and their upcoming Week 2 action at home debut of the season against the Seattle Seahawks. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this game, man. As if we weren't all excited enough for this season, this season premiere at home at Ford Field, where CJ GJ has called out for the ski mask. He's called out for Lions fans to be in full force. I could not be more excited for this game than I am right now, man. This is very exciting. It's a good time to be a Detroit Lions fan. And this game has a lot on the line. Kind of like they did last season. There's a lot to look at this season. I mean, the Lions coming off a huge Week 1 victory, now going back home with a team that also has a lot to prove. I mean, this is a playoff team just last year. This was the playoff team that knocked the Lions out of the playoffs last season. So it's a lot of get back. It's a lot of motivation for the Lions. And I do think they're going to answer the bell. I think they're going to answer the call, and I think they're going to stand up and play some damn good football at home against the Seahawks this week. Looking at what's updated and kind of transpiring right now, the Lions are they're going through some changes. They do have some injuries that they're dealing with. From what we've read and seen, Josh Paschal is looking to be out for a little while. So it looks like he's not going to be active for this game against Seattle, unfortunately. Last week, the Lions didn't play Isaiah Buggs for, whatever their mystery reason was for not playing him. So now they have to put it back in. If Paschal, who made some pretty huge plays, especially in the fourth quarter against the Chiefs, if he's not going to be active, they need to have all the depth possible to kind of slow down Kenneth Walker and this rushing attack of the Seahawks. Now, to me, I don't think this offense is very great. I think Geno Smith is finally coming back down to earth after teams had some game film on him. And, because, again, he went years without even playing or being suited or being active in an NFL roster. But now he's kind of got his career rejuvenated. But even with him being a starter now and him being comeback player of the year, I don't necessarily see it carrying over to this season. I know they added some good pieces offensively, especially at the receiver position. They still have Lockett and DK Metcalf and some pretty good weapons that are formidable to get some points on the board, especially with Kenneth Walker in the backfield. But their offensive line is still a bit of a question mark. They just signed Jason Peters, who's about 100 years old, and he's been through 100 different injuries since he was a Philadelphia Eagle. So I'm not necessarily putting a whole lot of stock into that. I think that's a matchup that Aiden Hutchinson or Charles Harris or James Houston should be able to take advantage of. I also expect this to be a game where the Lions maybe take some chances with some blitzing. I do think that Geno Smith can be mobile. We did see that last season where he kind of picked the Lions apart with his mobility and his ability to step up and throw some open passes over to the pocket. We've seen that. However, in this game, I feel like with the veteran additions that have been added to this roster, I think they'll be able to come off a little bit more savvy with their attacks of Geno Smith and be able to keep him in the pocket in areas where he's not going to be able to be as elusive as we saw last season or as elusive as we saw Patrick Mahomes be with the Chiefs last week. I don't think the Lions are going to be in that kind of a worry. They're going to have 10 days worth of rest. They're going to have all the energy in the world. They're going to have ski masks and the insanity of Ford Field turning them up all game on defense. I expect them to be able to answer the call, and I think they're going to see a lot of good things come from that defense against Seattle. Offense, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Unfortunately, Taylor Decker looks like he's maybe not going to be playing. Dan Campbell did say it was looking like a long shot of him being able to suit up at left tackle. So that does worry me about this offensive line because while we've seen Penei Sewell in his rookie season a few years ago, we saw him step in and be able to play left tackle successfully with no issue. To me, he's still the best right tackle in all of football, and I don't want to keep that or open that up as a whole for the Seahawks to take advantage of because they do have some talent on the defensive side of the ball. Having Bobby Wagner back, having Quandre Diggs in the secondary, having Reed off the defensive line, they do have players that the Lions should be pretty worried about. However, Ben Johnson being one of the most creative offensive coordinators in all of football should be able to rectify all that. The Lions still having some quality depth within their offensive line should be able to rectify that. On top of the fact that the Lions have, I believe, one of the best rushing attacks in all of football, and they're going against one of the worst rushing attacks in all of football. I think this defense is very, very poor and kind of light on their trenches in the front line, so the Lions need to be able to take advantage of that. I think we're going to see a heavy dose of Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. A lot of people on social media were begging to see more of Gibbs. Dan Campbell said he wanted to keep him on a pitch count to keep him a little bit more comfortable and understanding of the game and the speed of it as a rookie. And I respect that and understand that. However, being at home and knowing what we want to see from this offense, where he could either be in the backfield or spread out as a receiver to throw off defenses, I think they're going to use a lot more of that. I don't think they're going to just throw him in the backfield and just say, okay, run 20 times. They're going to use Gibbs very creatively, and I think we're going to see a lot more of the pounding by Montgomery as the bruising back out the backfield. All I want to see out of that, though, is a fullback in front of those two. I don't want to see them taking on these blockers or these tacklers right in front of them as soon as they get the ball from Goff. I do want to see a little bit more protection for the running backs, and I think they can do that by having a fullback in front or at least using stunts and different creativity with the offensive linemen. This is a game that I think Jared Goff and this offense should be able to have their way. Goff found some comfortability with a few different weapons. You know, we saw him swing it out to Amon-Ra St. Brown, who had a touchdown and I think about, 80 yards, if I'm not mistaken, on 6-7 catches. Some huge catches, some huge plays by Josh Reynolds, who deserves a lot of credit for what he's done since he's been signed to the Lions. Really, from 2 years ago, he's made some huge plays for this team, especially in the absence of a Jameson Williams, especially when Marvin Jones struggled as bad as he did. So we really want to see some more from him to kind of take things up a little bit more of a notch. So shout out to Josh Reynolds. I think he'll have a couple more big catches. I think Khalif Raymond will be a big factor. And I also think Sam Laporta is going to get his first touchdown of the season as well. The Lions have a lot more firepower, at least, I don't want to compare to offense, but I do believe they have more firepower against the Seattle defense in comparison to Seattle's offense, which is going against the Lions defense, which looks much more improved, which looks a lot deeper, from the defensive linemen to the much improved linebackers and the flying secondary that they have. They should be able to keep this offense under wraps. I don't expect to see Geno Smith coming up throwing for 350 unless they're playing catch up from behind and he just has to air it out every single pass and play in order to try maybe get a lead back. But I don't see that happening. So I see this as a very favorable matchup for the Lions. They need this, though. They need to be going into these games beating the teams that they should be beating. If they would have lost to the Chiefs, it would have been unfortunate, but I don't think it would have been looked at as drastic as it could be if they lose to a team like the Seahawks. And I don't see that happening. I see the Lions getting the dub here, and I see them getting it pretty comfortably. I'm not going to lie. I got a final score. I'm going to go 30-20 Detroit Lions. 30-20 Detroit Lions with a double-digit victory. They should be comfortable in this game. They should be able to take advantage of a lot of these mismatches with the Seahawks. They're coming in limping. They're coming in 0-1 after losing to Matthew Stafford and the Rams. And I think they should be going 0-2 because the Lions are better than the Rams, who they just lost to. And if I'm not mistaken, they were on the road in that game as well. They're on the road in this game as well, too. This should be a pretty big challenge for the Seahawks, and I'm really looking forward to see what the Detroit Lions do. Book a 30-20 victory for the Detroit Lions coming up this Sunday. But talk to me in the comment section. I'd love to hear your feedback. Give me your final score for the Lions and the Seahawks this Sunday. I want to hear what you think it's going to be. 30-20 is my mind state, and I want to hear what you think it as well. Talk to me in the comments. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Help us run it up all the way to 100. We're trying to get to 100 by the end of the year in our subscriptions, and we would love to make that happen with your support. Thank you again for tuning in, and I'll see you again with a little bit more content soon enough. Peace.